There's a sentence you can say to your boss that will change how they categorize you in their mind. Not a trick, not a manipulation tactic, not corporate flattery. One sentence that repositions you from someone who executes tasks to someone who thinks about outcomes. And once your boss makes that mental shift, once they start seeing you as someone who understands the why behind the work, everything changes. The assignments change. The conversations change. The way your name comes up when they're sitting in a room deciding who gets the next opportunity, that changes. But before I give you the sentence, I need to explain the mechanism behind it. Because without understanding why this works, you'll say it once, get an impressed look, and never follow through. And the follow-through is what makes this transformation permanent. Here's how your boss currently categorizes you in their mental model. You show up, you do what's asked, you do it well. When there's a problem, you solve it. When there's a task, you complete it. You're reliable. You're competent. You're the person who gets things done without needing to be managed closely. And you think that's the highest compliment your boss can give you? It isn't. What your boss values most, what every manager values, whether they've ever consciously articulated it or not, is the feeling of not having to think about you. Not in a dismissive way, in a cognitive load way. Every person who reports to a manager occupies space in that manager's mental bandwidth. The direct reports who consume the least bandwidth are the ones who don't just do the work, but who also anticipate what comes next, who bring solutions alongside updates, who understand the context behind the task, not just the deliverable itself. Most employees operate exclusively at the task level. They receive a request, they execute it, they report completion. That's reliable, that's competent, that's also common. Every decent employee can execute. What's rare, genuinely rare, is someone who operates at the context level. Someone who hears the task and immediately thinks about why the task exists, what decision it supports, who's going to evaluate the output, and what good looks like beyond just done on time. That's the cognitive shift this sentence creates. It takes you from the task category to the context category in your boss's mind. And that recategorization is worth more than any individual deliverable. Here's the sentence. The next time your boss gives you an assignment, a project, a task, a deliverable, anything, respond with this. Before I start, can you help me understand what success looks like for this beyond just completing it? Read that again, slowly. Before I start, can you help me understand what success looks like for this beyond just completing it? Now let me break down why this specific combination of words hits differently than anything else you could say in that moment. First, it signals that you're thinking about the outcome, not just the task. Most employees here create a report, and they create a report. They focus on format, length, accuracy, and deadline. You're asking what the report needs to accomplish, what decision it supports, what the audience cares about. That tells your boss something powerful. You understand that the report is a vehicle, not a destination. The decision the report supports is the destination. Second, the question gives your boss an invitation to share context they would never share unprompted. Managers carry a huge amount of information they don't pass down to their team, not because they're deliberately withholding, because they assume you don't need it. They assume you just need the task description and the deadline. By asking this question, you're signaling that you want the full picture. And when given that invitation, most managers will open up in ways they've never opened up with you before. They'll tell you about the politics behind the project, about the stakeholder who's going to scrutinize the results and what that person cares about the real deadline versus the official deadline, about the thing that went wrong the last time someone attempted something similar, about what the VP said in the planning meeting that changed the direction of the initiative. That information changes the quality of your output dramatically, because now you're not executing blind. You're executing with directional precision. And directional precision looks exactly like senior level thinking. Third, this question immediately differentiates you from literally everyone else on the team, because almost nobody asks it. I don't mean rarely. I mean almost never. Most employees take the assignment and walk away. The ones who do ask questions typically ask logistics questions. When is this due? What format should I use? Who reviews it? Where should I send the final version? Those are useful questions, but they're task-level questions. They tell your boss you're going to do the work. They don't tell your boss you understand the work. Your question communicates understanding, and understanding is the single most important trait that separates people who get promoted from people who get more tasks. Now, let me show you what this looks like in a real scenario so you can see the practical difference. Your boss says, I need you to pull together the Q3 performance numbers by Friday. The normal response from a normal employee, got it? Any specific format. Your response, before I start, can you help me understand what success looks like for this beyond completing it? Is this going to the board or the department planning session? And is there a specific narrative the numbers need to support? Your boss pauses. They look at you slightly differently than they did 10 seconds ago. And they say, actually, this is for the VP's planning session. She's building a case to expand the team next year. So the numbers need to show consistent growth trajectory and scalability, not just where we are, where we're going. Now you have something that no other person on the team has. Directional clarity. You're going to pull the exact same data, but you're going to frame it differently. You're going to include forward projections. You're going to highlight trend lines, not just snapshot metrics. You're going to structure the output so it tells a story about growth and capacity. You're going to build something that supports the VP's argument, which is what your boss actually needs, but didn't say until you asked. When that deliverable lands in the planning session, it doesn't look like a data dump. It looks like strategic thinking. It looks like someone who understood the assignment at a level above the assignment itself. And your name is attached to it. Your boss remembers who built it. The VP remembers who supported her case. That trace of recognition didn't happen because you worked harder. It happened because you asked one question that nobody else thought to ask. Here's where most people would lose the thread. They'd ask the question once, get a positive reaction, and then revert to their normal mode of accepting tasks and executing quietly. The real power isn't in saying the sentence once. It's in building a pattern. The second time you ask it, your boss starts expecting it from you. The third time, they begin proactively sharing the context before you even ask, because they've learned that you're someone who uses that information productively. By the fourth or fifth time, something fundamental shifts in the relationship. Your boss starts treating you as a different category of employee. They include you in conversations earlier in the process. They share draft thinking with you before it's finalized. They ask for your input on decisions that are above your current title. They start saying things like, "What do you think about this?" instead of, "Here's what I need you to do." That's the transition from executor to strategic partner, from someone who completes tasks to someone who shapes outcomes. And that transition, visible over the course of a few months, is what promotions are actually made of, not performance scores, not years of service, the demonstrated ability to think about the work at a higher level than the work itself. There are situations where this approach won't get traction. If your boss is someone who responds to questions with, "Just do what I told you," or seems annoyed when you ask for context, that's important information too. Not about the question, about the environment. You've just learned that you're in a culture that doesn't value strategic thinking at your level. That's a ceiling. And recognizing that ceiling early saves you years of frustration. But in most environments, with most managers, this question works. It works because it's rare and genuine and respectful and useful all at the same time. It works because it gives your boss something they almost never get from their direct reports: the feeling that someone on their team actually gets the bigger picture. You can keep being the person who executes tasks reliably. There's nothing wrong with that. You'll be valued. You'll be liked, you'll be safe, or you can become the person who understands why the tasks exist. You'll be trusted, you'll be included, you'll be remembered. Both are paths. Only one of them leads to a room where your future gets decided while you're actually in it. One sentence won't transform your career overnight, but one sentence, asked consistently, with genuine curiosity behind it, will change the way the person who most directly controls your career thinks about you. And in a system that runs primarily on perception and narrative, shifting how you're perceived is the most powerful move available to you. The sentence doesn't work because it's clever. It works because it reveals something true about you, that you care about more than just checking a box, that you want to contribute at the level above where you currently sit, that you're ready for more. Start asking, and pay attention to what changes when you do.